Eldorado by Edgar Allan Poe, 1809 to 1849. Gaily bedight, a gallant knight, in sunshine and in shadow, had journeyed long, singing a song in search of Eldorado. But he grew old, this knight so bold, and o'er his heart a shadow fell as he found no spot of ground that looked like Eldorado. And as his strength failed him at length, he met a pilgrim shadow. "Shadow," said he, "where can it be, this land of Eldorado?" "Over the mountains of the moon, down the valley of the shadow, ride, boldly ride," the shade replied, "if you seek for Eldorado." Okay, this is a poem by Edgar Allan Poe. Edgar Allan Poe was an American poet. He's most famous for his Gothic horror stories and Gothic fiction. He's famous for his short stories, and they consider that he invented the genre of detective fiction. He was born in Boston. His parents died when he was a baby, and he was fostered by the Allan family. He joined the army when he was 18. He married his 13-year-old cousin when he was 26, and he died at a young age. So, Eldorado. Okay, this is about Eldorado. Eldorado is the city of gold. Eldorado is supposed to be a city where everything is made of gold, and also it's supposed to be a social paradise. So there is a knight, and this knight is looking for Eldorado. And this knight spends all of his life journeying in search of Eldorado. And finally he meets a ghost at the end of his life, or a spirit, and the spirit says that the only way to get to Eldorado is to go there after death. This is a place that you can only reach after death. And I think the poem is almost talking about the futility of searching for impossible dreams. I think you need to make your dreams realistic. So, gaily bedight, a gallant knight. Well, this word bedight is a great word to start with. Bedight, equipped, dressed, bedecked. So there's a gallant knight, a brave knight, and he's very well dressed. He's very elegantly and beautifully dressed. In sunshine and in shadow had journeyed long, singing a song in search of Eldorado. So this knight had travelled for many years in the sun, in the shade, always singing his song, looking for Eldorado. The song of his life was the search for Eldorado, the city of gold, the city of gold. But he grew old, this knight so bold, and o'er his heart a shadow fell as he found no spot of ground that looked like Eldorado. So time went by, and this knight started to become old, this brave knight, and a shadow fell over his heart. He started to become depressed, he started to become sad, because he could find nowhere that looked like Eldorado. He couldn't find it. So he'd spent all his life, he's grown old, and there is this sadness because he can't find Eldorado. He's looking for the impossible. And as his strength failed him at length, he met a pilgrim shadow. Shadow, said he, where can it be, this land of Eldorado? And as his strength failed him at length, I think that this now the knight is about to die. He's not got no more energy left in him, and he meets a pilgrim, a travelling shadow. This is some sort of ghost, and he says to the ghost, to the shadow, where can it be? Where is Eldorado? Where is Eldorado? I think this is on his deathbed, and he's talking to ghosts or people from a person from the afterlife, and he says, where is this land of Eldorado? Over the mountains of the moon, down the valley of the shadow, ride boldly, ride, the shade replied, if you seek for Eldorado. So the shades, or the shadow, or the ghost says, you've got to go over the mountains of the moon. The mountains of the moon used to be believed to be the source of the Nile. But maybe these are also referring to mountains on the moon. You've got to go over the mountains of the moon. You've got to go through the valley of the shadow of death. So you've got to pass through death. You've got to die. You've got to go through the valley of the shadow of death. Ride boldly. So ride bravely to all these places. And the shade replied, if you seek for Eldorado. So this is a place where you will only find it after death. So maybe it's referring to peace in life, to everlasting happiness, that you can only find Eldorado, this perfect world, after you have died, once you go over the mountains of the moon and through the valley of the shadow of death. So, Eldorado by Edgar Allan Poe.